Hello friends! Alright, so I'm going to be doing a video today on how to fully service your guitar. Restring, setup, and any other minor adjustments you need. A big thing, I did work at a music store, and I was so nervous that I did not know what to do, and turns out I actually knew a lot more than what I knew, what I thought I knew. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm worthy enough to show a video to. I don't do the math of some people are very perfectionist of like it must be 3/4 inch this or I don't do all that because sometimes the measurements are wrong. So but anyway, to restring a Floyd Rose guitar, this is going to be a video on pretty much the most complicated and biggest pain in the ass I have for guitar. I only have one of these guitars because I do not like restringing them. I do not like setting them up. It's not that fun to me. I just like throwing strings on and being simple. And this one's still actually one of my favorite Floyd Rose guitars. So ESP or LTD KH202. This is Kurt Hammett's signature. I don't normally like signatures, but Kurt Hammett actually does it right. So what you're gonna need, obviously, some strings. I use Diodarios because I just have really good luck with them. You're gonna probably want a string winder because you don't want to sit there all day winding strings, and screwdriver. This Allen key, the exact Allen key that either came with the guitar or if you buy the one that's the exact size, be careful not to strip them because these parts are kind of annoying to find. Lemon oil, guitar polish, that's the simple stuff. Alright, so let's see, where do I start? This is another thing too. With a Floyd Rose, you're going to have to block off the bridge because when you take off the strings, this thing will shoot back. And I bought this guitar the very first night. I broke a string and I took it off and I wanted to return it because it was a pain in the ass. This is what you need to do. So I'm going to show you the professional way to do it, and then the amateur way, which still works. I used it for a while. So basically what you would do is you could either use say for instance a marker or something, and what I do is I wrap this up, right, and then I would stick this up and then put it in there. Now I have it wrong right now, but you want it to be level, so you got to do whatever you do to make it level. You just stick something in there, and then I put this cloth over it so it doesn't ding up the guitar. That is one way. The other way is called a tremolo stopper, and I got one installed on this guitar because this thing is actually pretty cool. All it is a little mechanism right there, and you screw it here till it's straight. And then you can also, whenever it's done, you can bend it back or screw it back, and then you'll have a point where you know you won't break your strings. It's kind of like a safety feature. You can always take this part fully off and then have it just be like it used to be with the Floyd Rose. But I like this tool, and they're only like 15 bucks. I got a really nice one with brass just because 15 bucks, you know. Alright, so that being said, we're going to pretend that the marker's in there if you guys have that in the guitar. And we are going to start taking off the strings. And so what you do is Allen key, and you would twist these off. I already twisted them off. And then, so you would take these off. These are the stopper, or the locking nuts. And then, where did it go? String winder. And obviously, if you don't know how to do this, I don't know, but all you do, wrap it down. So now I'm going to wrap all of these off. Alright, so now I unwrap the strings all there. Now we have them here. And what you do, you grab that same Allen key. There is a little black sleeve down here, and what you do is you just loosen these. And there is a little square in there that you actually stuck the string in, or they did previously. Let's see. Alright, so now it comes right out. And you notice there's no ball end. I will show you how to do that, but now I'm going to do the rest of the other ones. Alright, now I got those out. I always make sure You twist them up so they don't get too tangled everywhere, and then I throw them away. Or actually recycle them and make an art piece out of them. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to polish the hell out of this guitar because it is dirty. So I have two different kind of cloths. I have a slightly cleaner one. This is the dirty one. I wipe all the dust off and then I spray it and clean it. So here we go. Alright, so now we are all shiny. So now I take this lemon oil and I put little dots. You can buy this at any guitar store or Amazon for fairly cheap. So I put little dots, kind of wipe it everywhere. What I do then, wipe them frets. I tend to leave strings on for a while and I get them kind of dirty and gunky and the fretboard gets gross. So now I do this, and so what I do, I let that soak in for just a few seconds, maybe a minute at most. You can see all that gunk. So what I do, I grab a different, stronger cloth, wipe my finger in it, and I dig down in there and I clean it a lot. And I make sure all that gunk is gone because I am OCD to the max. See, that looks way better. It's healthier. The wood is better. It's not so dried out. So now I'm going to do that with all the rest of them. Alright, so another step to do is if your frets are very, very, very gross, like corroded and not smooth, one thing you can do to clean them, you could try polishing them, but that usually will not do it. So what I've done in the past is there are three options. Some people are probably going to disagree with some of them. I've tried all three. And what I've done is you can use steel wool, like a really nice fine grade of steel wool. I try not to use the heavier stuff. This is actually heavier stuff, but I'm bad example. But so what you do is you would pinch it, try your best not to scrape the wood. And then you would just go really softly, and then, you would do that. I don't need to do mine because my guitar is already pretty clean. Another way of doing it instead of steel wool, if you don't have steel wool, is these little, I think they're called like Scotch pads. You can get a softer grade one, which would be good too. This is just one laying around my house that I used before. There's this one, and then the other one is a very, 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 very fine grade of sandpaper. And all three of those I found that work really well, because basically what you're doing is you're just getting the corrode off the metal so then it can be a smooth, nice playing fret. All of my frets on here are just flawless. I love them. And then that's all you do with the neck. Sometimes what I do for a second time, is I actually put another, because after I wiped all the gunk off, I do another layer of a thin oil, and I just kind of let it soak in, and that's why my fretboards always look kind of darker, because I feel like I actually treat the wood to where it soaks it in. But yeah, I try not to flood it as much. I actually put a little bit too much on right now. But I do that, and then I just wipe it off again. So we'll do that. Alright, so now we are going to put the guitar strings on this nice Floyd Rose. So what you're going to have to do is, with Floyd Rose, you're going to actually have to cut the ball end off. So you use, typical plier cutters. And some people like to leave this little ridge on. Some people like to leave it off. I'm actually going to leave it all the way off. Yeah, let's see. Actually, just kidding. I'm going to leave it on. See how that goes. And then what you're going to do is, if you can see, kind of, let's see. I can't do this with three hands. Alright, so you have the little square that's in there. You can't really see it, but so you would snug this in there. Snug it in there really good, make sure it's all the way in. Hold this, and then you would tighten the other end with your Allen key. And make sure it is completely snug and tight. Oops. Snug and tight. You do not want the string slipping. So, what you would do then, you have the rest of the string, you bring it in, and some Floyd Roses have this little bar that you would go under, to hold it. Sorry, it's kind of hard to do this without a tripod. Someone should give me a tripod. One of you guys can send me a tripod. Just kidding. Let's see. This is one other thing I almost forgot. I use a pipe cleaner, and I get in here and I scrub away all that nasty dust. Because over time, this chrome will not look so pretty because you did not take care of it. So I get all in there. I use a pipe cleaner because it can get in all the little nooks and crannies. So yeah, you do that. Try to get everything you can. I usually don't like spraying polish on this because if it does seep in, then it's just gonna corrode. I don't want to risk it. And you can actually get in between the pickups like that. It's cool. But yeah, sorry about that. Forgot that step. Alright, so once you get it under that little nut thing right here, I do a good getting it in. Let's see. Oops, this is being a pain in the ass. Once again, that's why I don't like Floyd roses. So I put about 3 or 2 things of gap of string. And what you do is you're going to tie the string off from the bottom. You don't have to do this. A lot of people say this is the way to do it. Basically, you would put your string in through this way, wrap it underneath, over, and then pull it and kind of make a little bend. You do that, and then where the hell? Okay. And then you start cranking down. Very easy. And you just do it, of course, until you get it mildly tight. And then we're going to do... Damn. Oh, I forgot it wasn't an increase. My bad. I'm not a professional. You do this to all the other strings. And then you're good. Alright. Alright, so now that I got the strings on, I still have not put on the locking nuts because you have to stretch your strings. And to do stretch your strings, what I do, grab your 2 thumbs and go like that. You grab the strings with your index fingers, and then you pull. So, like this, and you would go all the way down. And I do 2 strings at a time to save some time. And then I really do put some pressure down, not too much to try to break the string, but just to really stretch it and break it in. Being with Floyd Rose, I take my time, and you can't see, but I'm going all the way up and down the neck. And I do it again. And then I do the other 2, and you'll tell there's a huge difference after you stretch them on how much time. If you do not do this, you will have the hardest time just tuning this, and then you'll have to do a whole adjustment and setup on the actual Floyd part. But I definitely take your time with it. Let me stretch them a little bit more. Another thing I do to stretch it too is, I don't do this first, but I do it second. I actually crank the Floyd Rose up and down a few times just to get it in motion of this is how it's going to work. Now, that's the one thing, is if you don't have the marker, you can still do it, but just be careful it won't shoot out at you. So then we do that, and then down here, I also kind of bend these and stretch them a little bit just to save you some time. There we go. You can press down a little bit. Alright. Now you can use any tuner you like. I use a Snark just because it picks up the vibration and it's just easier so you don't have to plug it in. So now all we do is just tune it, and you're going to tune it here, and you're going to get it as close as you can. You don't have to get it dead on because remember, this Floyd Rose isn't locked yet. So now we're going to get it very close. I forgot to mention another thing I do too is I actually tune, and I tune, like, say for instance the D and the D, and I skip. I go every other one. The reason why is just so then it doesn't go up in alignment with the Floyd Rose. It's just something I do. This is another thing I do too. So I got it partly in tune. I also forgot, you want to make these a little bit looser, because when the strings stretch, you're going to have to tighten them. I don't loosen them all the way. I put them about 75% up before it, it falls out of the nut. And I make them all flush so then it looks nice. And then you can tell which one. So you can see, so this is what it should look like whenever you first start out, and you can see these three are up higher, and this is whenever I crank these down to tune whenever the strings stretch. But if you stretch them right, then you won't have to readjust these later down the road. You'll literally just have the guitar stay in tune forever. So you just keep cranking all those until they're a good height. And you want it to do it to where it's cranking this, or you unloosen it this way, counterclockwise, and clockwise is whenever you do to tighten it. Tightening it will tune the string. So, and I do leave a little bit of space, so then if you do have to go up and loosen it, then that's okay. So, pretty flush, pretty good. Alright. Alright, so now that we got it mildly in tune, you can see my D is close, my A, my D, G, oh, what am I doing? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. That's gotta be a B. Alright, so there we go. So now, what we're gonna do is we're going to put these locking nuts back on, and we're going to fasten them tightly. And use that same Allen key that we've been using this whole time that I tell you never to lose. Tight. Now we're going to do that to the others. Alright, now that we've done that, so now we've tightened those, so now what you're going to tune is tune by these. So you can see my D is still slightly low, and now it is pitch perfect. I'm going to go to the other D. And that's why I said to loosen those things, because that was quite a lot of tightening. The G is supposed to be the A. And you just keep doing that with all the other strings, and you should be good.